Hey, how's it going everybody, and thanks for tuning in. In this video, we'll be installing a bolt-on swing-out tire carrier for my 80 series Land Cruiser. This is the General Green Manufacturing, or GGM for short, bolt-on swing-out tire carrier. From what I've seen, it's definitely first of its kind, completely bolt-on with very minor cutting and drilling. For the 91 and 92 80 series Land Cruisers, there's a little bit more involved. As you can see here, solid construction all around. This project is not cheaply made. Matt from GGM is an 80 series owner himself, so this was made with passion and dedication. The frame mount, the tire carrier, and even the hardware are all absolutely bomb-proof. So to start off with the installation, I sprayed all the parts with Steelite coatings, my absolutely favorite paint for all my metal parts. I hit everything with 4 coats. Now onto removing the plastic bumperettes on the 80. Very simple step, just take the time to find all the bolts and screws. Once the plastic piece is off, you're left with the exposed bumper support and the support bracket. Removing the bumper support like this because I couldn't find my extension. With the bumper support off, it's time to cut the support bracket. If you have a 93 and up 80 series, simply unbolt the bracket and skip ahead to where we cut the bumper support. Right here, I'm just simply removing the frame mounted tow hitch to make room for my cutting. And with the bracket off, simply grind the area flat so that the frame mount can be test fitted and ensure it can sit flush against the frame. With the mount installed onto the frame, now mark the location through the holes on the frame mount where you'll need to drill the frame for the 3/8 mounting bolts. I sprayed the area with Steelite as well. So while the paint dries, we can install the latch catch mount. M12 flanged bolts on top threaded directly to the threaded holes, and M12 flanged bolts through the bottom with M12 lock nuts and washers. Now onto trimming the bumper support. So with the support mounted up, simply trim down a straight line where the frame would end and carefully cut off completely. So now back to mounting the frame mount to the frame. This is where things get pretty simple. Use the 5/8 bolt, washer, and lock nut, as well as the factory recovery points on the bottom, followed by the 3/8 bolts through the bracket support holes. Go ahead and cinch everything down. The next step is to drill a hole for the spindle to go through on the bumper. Simply measure down from the support mounting point and then across to the spindle. I'm not the best at measuring things, but this part isn't so bad. I had to remove the chrome trim and then use a 2-inch hole saw. It worked perfectly, but you'll see later what issue I ran into. I figured now would be a good time to restore the color on my bumpers as well. The issue I ran into was a problem with the bottom of the spindle getting in the way of the bumper sliding back into place. I thought I could trim more space up top for the spindle before I realized where the interference was coming from. GGM said that the plastic on the Land Cruisers is thicker than on the LX450, which they made the design off of. We'll go into further detail on that later. In the meantime, before tightening down the latch catch parts, I installed the tire carrier. Start by hand packing the bearings with grease and placing them into the tire carrier. The bearing races are already installed, so don't worry about pounding those in. And then tap the seal into the bottom. Go ahead and place the tire carrier onto the spindle. Having a second pair of hands will really help. Place the washer and tighten up the castle nut, and then remember to set the cotter pin. Now we can tighten everything on the catch, as well as install the latch system. I initially installed it upside down, so make sure yours is the right way. From here, tighten up the latch to get rid of the play from the carrier. It should be snug, but not too snug. And that's it. All you really have to do is grease the spindle through the Zerk fitting, but other than that, this thing is already fully functional. So what do you guys think? It's pretty simple to install, honestly. Fitting the bumper back on correctly isn't really that hard. I just started cutting without actually taking a look at what was going on, so avoid that. The frame mount is hitting the bumper right here, and GGM's already cutting the new frame mounts so that way that won't happen anymore. And basically what's happening is that the bumper can't properly align with the original mounting holes. But with some zip ties, I was able to fix it for the most part. So tell me what you guys think. I mean, it's definitely a first of its kind in terms of bolt-on. I've seen products like this before, but they were DIY welding kits. I mean, I'm not a welder. I don't know how, and I don't have the tools to do it. One day I hope to, but in the meantime, a bolt-on option is perfect and exactly what the market needed. Now I can't wait to get my tire up from under the truck and mounted to the carrier. So if you guys have any questions or you want to actually check out the product, go to generalgreenmanufacturing.com. And again, thanks for watching.